Yeah.
So I'm starting to go live. Let me get
All right.
let me get this cracking.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did you just crack a beer?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just crack a cold one?
A cold one on a cold day. Yeah. Yeah. Stopped and got me a little something. I'm off the weekend,
Oh,
so
there you go. Enjoy it. All right. Okay.
yeah, I'm enjoying. I do have a couple places to run to tomorrow, but I should be home by noon and maybe start Resident Evil 2 with Claire's playthrough. I don't know. So they go back to playing Zero Dawn.
Is this a replay through, or you starting? This is your first time?
No, it's first.
Really?
Yeah, it was on sale. It was on sale for Christmas. It was like $6.
All right.
For Resident Evil 2. So
this is the remake, right? The remake.
Yeah, that remake
they did.
Great
remake.
I finished it with the white man named Leon. So that's what cracked me up. Name a white guy Leon, okay, but yeah,
this guy.
Yeah, so but Claire's playthrough I heard is easier. That's what I was told, but I don't know.
It's a great game. It was a great remake. Better than 3. Fun. I didn't think 3 was a good remake. I don't know. It was just I think it was more of a cash grab. But 2 was great. It was a really great, well done. That. All right, so we live now. Yeah, grand opening, grand closing. What's up, everybody? It's your only friend, these YouTube streets, Puerto Rock 77. I'm back. It's great to be back. That's right, Carol Anchor. We are live. I know it's been a while. I know it's been like 2-3 weeks since I provided new content. But given it was so close to the holidays, I just wanted to, just enjoy the holidays. I went to North Carolina. I have a house over there, and the family decided to meet up at my house. So I went to the East Coast, enjoyed some holiday spirits with my family. I hope you guys had a good holiday season with your friends and family, and I hope everything went well. But I just wanted to just chill, just let it go. Let the channel breathe. Let people just enjoy the holidays, whatever. Of course, I was still on Twitter, talking my trash, talking my shit. But ultimately, I just left the channel alone, and I just wanted to be fresh, so that we could kick off 2022, get big things going. We're gonna kick it off. I got some topics. I got my boy Craig here. He showed up. What's going on, Craig?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I was taking a sip of my old Kentucky home. Hey, shout out to you, man. And I'm glad your family's doing well. Happy New Year. Yeah, I toned down a little bit. I made a investment, bought myself a new camera, gonna start doing more stuff on StreamYard. So be looking for me over there tomorrow with a special guest. But I'm gonna get a green screen and all that kind of stuff. Little moonlight orb that I can have next to me as I podcast. So everything's been ordered, and it's just a matter of learning how to work all that stuff. But man, I appreciate you having it back on again. Shout out to everybody in the chat that's here now, and shout out to J-Dub and the rest of the crew. Maybe they can hop on later on. J-Dub and still giving these bots the wet ass. Every though he didn't take over. He didn't care that Santa came down the chimney. So that's all I can say. So appreciate it, man. Happy New Year to you and your family.
So for me, a couple of things. So 2022 is gonna be the year where I'll start putting together my PC. So definitely hopefully I'll have that done by the summer, or at least by the fall. Get that piece together bit by bit. I'm gonna be patient and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go too crazy. I'm not gonna try to blast with a high-end PC right from the get-go. I'm gonna do a little experimenting and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? And put it together, and then hopefully that will, with an actual nice, decent PC, will help me now start getting to editing videos, improve the layout of my streams and stuff like that. Just touch it up. I think 2022 is time to really step up the look of the content. And just provide all better experience for you guys. Because I truly appreciate the viewers. They take the time out of their schedule to listen to us. You know what I'm saying? So I think stepping up the presentation and doing stuff like that. Green screen, I'm gonna be looking into that as well. I think see what magic I could finagle and stuff like that. Just to make everything more presentable.
Yeah, they've got some. I mean, the one I'm looking at literally just sits on the back of a chair.
Yeah,
and I just want to try it out to see if I'm any good at putting stuff up there, just to kind of see what I'm going to get. That's why I got a different camera, and so I'm going to have a nice little layout on the side here. So getting some people to do some music for me. To help kind of build the channel and build them up. So I'm getting excited about it. So I agree with you as far as stepping up the content, the way it's going to look, things like that. So I'm looking to bring guests back on, stuff I used to do, talk to some other people, and do some one-on-ones and stuff like that. So bring that back in 2022, because a lot of people, they requested that.
Okay.
Okay,
awesome. Yeah. So stand for big plans, guys. Be patient, but I want to do, as I do these live presentations, definitely want the right PC setup so I could project the content better. I also want to do, let's say, like if we're talking about comment made by somebody or video, I can actually stream it live to you guys without this thing crashing or any weird stuff, and things like that. Maybe lay out the podcast to where as the speaker talks, you get to see them or at least see their avatar. I'm just coming up with different ideas to get a better visual experience and stuff like that, and then also the edited videos. I want to push out more like 5 to 7 minute videos, but I want them with really nice quality behind them, so I'm gonna do some things to this channel, but all in all, I appreciate everybody's back. If you don't mind, hit the like button. Retweet this out, let people know that we're live and stuff. 60 Frames Don't Lag podcast will continue. The podcast will continue to be every Tuesday. So I'm not going to change the schedule. It'll be every Tuesday still at, 9 p.m. Eastern? Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern, because I get off for work around. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So it'll still be consistent. And then I'm going to throw in, my one-on-one lives, like talk or maybe a video. Once I get that more fleshed out, I'll be more specific with the schedule on when those things will be popping. But for now, I just wanted to kick off something live and get something going to kick off the year, and some great topics came up, so let's really get into these topics. Let's talk about that PlayStation VR2. Of course, let me bring out my little visual aid. Boom, you understand? So Sony, the CES of 2022 happened a couple of days ago, and Sony had their keynote presentation. They talked about now they're making cars, Craig. Is Craig there? He's back drinking his whiskey. He's on his whiskey. Craig's on his whiskey.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Yeah, shout out to a Dark Cloud. I confirmed with him. Their cars changed colors too.
Oh my god! I'm not. Now he's gonna say Sony makes the best cars in the world. Like, oh my god! You know him. You know Dark Cloud. Now all of a sudden, there's the number one car manufacturer in the world.
Yeah, but I ain't seen that before. If you all go back to the '80s, there was this horrible movie called Megaforce, and that's what their vehicles did. At night, they changed to camouflage dark, and in the daytime, they changed back. So, but that was like in the 80s. I'm like, oh, that's silly looking. But I ain't gonna lie, that was different. I don't know if that's a concept, if they're gonna mass produce it. But I did see the Sony car. Yeah, so I was just kind of like, oh my god.
So now Sony Pony is gonna be driving in whips. I'll just be like, oh man, now we got whips. Xbox got Microsoft Office. We driving in the latest whips. I'm gonna leave that alone. Like I said, I'm just mess with PlayStation. That's about it. But hey, shout out to Noriko. Thank you so much for the super chat. Truly appreciate it. Noriko always stopping by, blessing the channel. And then we also got Sleepy Lights. Thank you for super chats. What's good, pre-rock? Everything's good. Holiday was good. How you been doing, Sleepy? Appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. But so going back to Sony CES, they got into more detail with PlayStation VR. So let's talk about some of the things that they mentioned. I'm going to talk about a big thing that I didn't even expect. 4K HDR on an OLED screen. That's pretty big. Like, that's a pretty big tech. Are you familiar with the Quest 2? or anything like that?
Yeah,
Do you have
Oculus,
VR? Yeah. Are they using OLED?
No. I think they are. I'm not sure how high their resolution goes. I'm efforting my special guest tomorrow because it's Lincoln Clay. He's the VR, he's the VR, Don. Yeah, VR so we're gonna, so I definitely I'm gonna run that by him. I'm not surprised by this because everything that they said that you have on the screen, me and Lincoln talked about months ago. I'm like, yeah, this is what I heard they're going to be doing. So, but yeah, I know you're going to break it down here a little more, but hopefully he gives me my flowers, so to speak, tomorrow. When we talk about it. But as far as the rendering, I'm glad they did it because the other one, the first one, is 1080p, so they were already at full HD. Yeah. So
it just I thought
they would do 1440p.
It just didn't really look good. And I would say this: I was playing on the on the vanilla PS4. I heard playing on the PS4 Pro improved performance. I'm not sure about how much because I never got to see it for myself. But graphically, PlayStation 4 now. Just to make sure everybody knows, I love PSVR. But it wasn't a very graphically looking good games. The games didn't look good graphically, which I understood. PS4 and doesn't have the power to really bring out its best and stuff like that. So I always felt that was one hindrance on VR adoption for PlayStation is the graphics or lack thereof, right? Because if you show something on the screen and it just doesn't look good. It's kind of like a hurdle to get that person to look past something that doesn't look good and still try to give it a chance. Does that make sense?
Oh, you're right. You get one chance to make a good first impression.
Exactly. So, great.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Exactly right.
Great way, and I know, and it's not to shame them saying, it's not about the graphics, gameplay. I mean, but you got to understand it's not like Sony doesn't push out great graphical looking games, When you look at Horizon, when you look at Spider-Man, you look at God of War, and you're like, man, this looks great, and the games play great. And then you look at a VR, and you're like, ooh, that looks kind of rough. Sure, the gameplay might be still great, the immersion might still be great, but it takes a certain type of gamer to get past the lack of graphics and visual appeal and still try to invest. Which at the time it was a $500 peripheral, which made it even worse. I mean, they dropped it down to $300, but when you think about it, it's still $300, and graphically it doesn't look great. So $300 is still a high bar for something that doesn't graphically look great. Even though the experience was amazing, right? But now 4K OLED with HDR. And then also I'm looking at this article. It mentions 90 to 120 hertz refresh rate.
Yeah, that's right. Because the way we process information, where your eye gives its brain its information.
Yes,
this is the best way to help prevent some vertigo.
Yeah, and nausea. What I like is they start out with 90, not 60.
Yeah.
That's huge to go beyond 60 hertz. So like if the base refresh rate is 90, that's amazing. Because like you said, go into detail more on that.
Well, yeah, it's just anatomy 101, the way we perceive when you're in VR, what your brain thinks what you're looking at is real.
Yes.
So it can't.
And that is true. That is true. Yeah. Even with the bad graphics. So one of the games I was playing was the Spider-Man, not the one with No Way Home, but the one before it, right? Far From Home, when they did the little VR demo, it was free on PlayStation VR. So that was the first one I played, right? So you're like on this building, right? And even though like graphically it doesn't look that great, it looks all right, right? But you still kind of get a sense that you're in that world. So I'm looking around. So I'm like this. I'm like looking around and I'm seeing the sky. I'm seeing the edges of the building, right? So then I like keep in mind I have this headset on, right? So I turn around and I see, the backdrop of New York City. So then I move my head forward to look like, because in front of me I looked over the roof, and I see the street. So I'm like looking down on the street like this. So then I'm like, cool. So then I turn around and I see, the behind me. So then I do the same thing, and I hit my head on my own wall because I completely forgot. I lost focus of the environment I was in the room. And you've probably seen videos of that, of people running into shit, because VR pulls you away from your real world, and now your senses is the game, and you completely forget you like within and it happens pretty quickly. Like I say, within 5 minutes, you no longer have the sense of your own room. It's completely gone. Yeah. And that's true. And I know people laugh at those videos. And a lot of you probably seen videos of people on VR and they run into TVs or they're punching and they punch somebody. It's because when you're in this VR world, you lose your sense of the real world around you. The VR world takes over your senses. Now your senses is adapting to this world that you're in, even though it don't graphically look it. So you think you're in this open world, and next thing you know, like me, like a dumbass, I turn around, I'm like, oh, let me look. Bow! I was like, oh, snap. And I just, think about running into a wall and you don't think it's there. That shit hurts. I was like, my God. I was like, oh. But I hit it hard. I was like, oh, snap. It's pretty intense. But that's what impressed me about the VR. It literally pulled me in this world. Yeah. It completely pulled me out of my room, and now I'm in this world. Even Beat Saber. Yeah. That game is just amazing. That's very popular. Yeah. Yes, I'm looking around. You see the neon lights. It just pulls you into this another dimension. It's a very. That's why I'm an advocate for VR, because it really pulls you. But the drawback is the graphics and the refresh rate. It can make some people nauseous, as you mentioned. Yep. Or people just don't appreciate the graphics behind it. Luca.
Well, remember, it was. Shout out to the Ash and Luca.
Yeah, I got my sister from another mister. Happy New Year's. Yeah. 2022, let's get it. Woo! It's going to be a movie. Unless they shut it down for COVID, because we get another variant. Yeah. Then we're back at home. And then at that point, we need more Biden bucks.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we need something. Yeah. No, but the way you combat that, the senses that you're talking about, because you're getting overwhelmed. Yeah. You have to create an outside stimulus. So something as simple as just tapping your foot. Right. That resets your brain. Yeah. And when you take the VR stuff off, what I do, this is just what I do personally, is I will close my eyes and then start pulling the, how you had all those wires that it had. Yeah. You start kind of doing things with the wires. You're just telling your brain to reset. Yeah. This is not real. And again, you've created an outside stimulus, and then you shut your eyes. That is resetting your brain. Yeah. And then you can open them very slowly, and you don't get that sense of nausea. You're just talking about, So I wanted to say to Luca, shout out to Luca, if you want the Xbox nail polish, Luca, let me know. I will be more than happy.
You usually want that rewards program. So shout out to Luca said. Let me read her chat. She said, "This Ninja Rock really be showing up once a month. Like, what's goody?" Hey, listen. Like I said, I took a break. I was on a break for the holidays. It was a day of celebration, so I let things be. But now 22 is popping. We're gonna get it. So what's goody? Only to disappear for another year. Shaking my damn head. VR trash. Hit the like button though. Girl, we're gonna get Luca into VR when the VR2 comes out, and we're gonna make her play a horror game, and she's gonna have to stream it. We're gonna pull money together, kind of like what we did for Kiss Mood to play like Bloodborne, whatever. We're gonna get the craziest horror game ever. I'm gonna get her to play. Shout out to Luca. I hope everything was good with you. So 4K OLED screen. I'm like that's a premium product. That's very premium, right?
Shout out to J-Dub. I said, man, the closest OLED I'm getting to my house right now is that VR, because I could not I got sick trying to buy that C1 for $1,100. Like, my body would not allow my hand to go into the wallet.
You just can't do it. That's gonna be amazing, you know.
Yeah, so I know you're gonna talk CES, and a lot of LG stuff is gonna come down. Yeah. So it will get into my range probably by summer.
And having some conversation with people about this headset, they're talking about that the display is going to be so clean that it's going to feel like a regular TV display. So you can use it as a normal TV display, and it will give you that clean 4K image with HDR. That's going to be interesting, you know.
Yeah, definitely have to see the benchmarks of it. I know I'm sure they showed that Horizon game on the latest Sony TV that they had there.
I think so.
That QD, did you see that QD TV they had? A QD dot, they had their own quantum dot. So they probably showed it on that. But you're right, as far as the way it looked, again, impressive. It looked impressive. A whole lot is there. A whole lot of places they can go. And that's what I'm more interested in, is pushing those boundaries. So and they stepped it up. They did step it up with what you have on the screen here with the rendering, which is pretty much variable rate shading. It's a form of it. It's going to pull assets away from one part of the screen and let you concentrate on another. So where you're looking, it's like that's what variable rate shading does. So, but I agree. I'm excited about it.
Shout out to Juan Sosa Gaming. Man, this sounds like he's a drug lord in the gaming community. Juan Sosa. Oh shit, my man. Soon we're gonna have like the Diaz brothers in gaming. Oh shit, he said y'all was getting ready for PFT season, son. I'm on Master Guns, man. I just gotta show up. Max, relax. That's what I gotta do. Max pull-ups, max crunches, and relax on the run.
And
shout out to Juan Sosa. That's an inside joke for Marines getting ready for the PFT season.
I see that.
All right, and Tommy Bull.
Chaos.
Then we got Tommy Bull. He says, "Sup, brothers? Foveated rendering is a huge deal. Great segue.
That's big. Yeah. Definitely have to see how that's going to work. I want to see some benchmarks. I don't want to go full 52 CUs, 12T flops here. Let's wait for some benchmarks. And what we saw looked impressive, but I'm sure I will bet tree fitty on it that was on Sony's latest, newest TV that they had just shown earlier, with the brother sitting on the couch. So you may not have that type of rendering power on your television. We'll have to just wait and see. But I agree with the overall sentiment here, which is impressive. I think everybody was impressed, that saw that.
Reading this article, it says will feature eye tracking and foveated rendering, must have these days. Eye tracking for obvious gameplay and other reasons, and foveated rendering so that the notoriously resource-hungry VR rendering process can focus its cycles on the area where the player is looking. So it seems like that foveated rendering process, I guess, it helps manage resources. So instead of rendering stuff that you're not looking at, it's rendering the stuff. So I guess that's all part of the eye tracking.
Well, that's like part of your variable. That's almost a form of variable rate shading. When you look up what the variable rate does do is it takes assets away from, say, the furthest part that you're not looking at on your screen, and it helps bring things into view. This is something that people have been bragging about. Well, this is in essence almost doing the same thing. Does it a little bit differently, different rendering techniques. So guess what? They call it something different, but it's doing pretty much a lot of similar things. So I'm stunned because I heard they were going to do something like that, but I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be able to get that in there with the 4K stuff, because you're already going to be rendering at the highest resolution you can. Yeah, with the VR set. Somebody did put the Oculus number in there, and it was like 18 something by 1080, or it was something like that. It's in the chat. So shout out to the brother that did that. So yeah, you're looking at right now like you said, Porter Rock, it's a premium product. But let's wait. I personally going to wait on some benchmarks to see the experience.
Because these are just specs and intent. Yeah. But execution's a whole different story. I think we learned that. I think especially Xbox guys. I think they really learned that lesson. Yeah. Right. There's specs and intent, and then there's actual performance and what the system actually does when it's put together and actually going through the drive, right? Here it says the PSVR was confirmed by Sony to have 4K HDR imagery, 2000 by 2040 per eye. So that's impressive resolution.
That's gonna almost be so clean you won't have to wear glasses to play.
That is very clean. So hopefully, good thing is force feedback on the headset.
Amazing.
So the headset's supposed to have vibration capabilities for immersion.
Correct.
So that's an interesting addition.
Well, imagine playing a boxing game. Imagine playing a boxing game against somebody and you only get hit on the right side. In theory, with the haptic feedback, you're only gonna feel that on the right side, like you would in real life.
But imagine like our PlayStation controller, right? And it has the actuators, and like if Naked Tough. Imagine if the headset has an actuator, and you play a boxing game, and somebody hits you the right side, the actuator literally hits you. It just be pow. You're like, what the hell? I swear to God, if that thing does that, I will personally buy games to like post up. I'll be like, post up. Here's a VR2 and here's a boxing game. Put this shit on, because I'm going to whoop your ass right now. You're going to feel these actuators.
Have to wait and see. Have to wait and see if this is real. How good. Because, I mean, they may have a thing where you can turn it down.
That's just going all the way. 200%. 200%. When you take off the headset, you see like the knots and the lumps sticking out your head.
You'll flip the corner and it shows your guy all beaten up. Like, I'm getting a whooping.
All this Twitter beef is gonna be put to a halt now. I'll be like, "What? Are you talking that shit? Put your headset on. Let's go."
Or in theory, because you have separate eye tracking, what if you get hit on the left side? And that part of the screen starts going blurry.
Really? Not because like a boxing,
like a boxer.
You have to be like rocking, hit the middle,
something like that.
Wow.
I'm just saying, it's possible. Let me make this clear. This doesn't mean what we're talking about. Nothing is confirmed. Let's wait for them to actually put something out into the field. So, Porter Rock here, I'm sure you've seen many demonstrations in your career as a military man of people saying how good this is going to work and how great this is. And then, it doesn't, like Iron Man and Iron Man 2, he shot that missile and the missile dudded out. It's like, hammer tech. I told you it was going to do all this stuff. So, let's wait and see. We're not going 52 CUs and all that kind of stuff here. I'm just saying. This is a possibility.
We're gonna take Twitter beef to a whole new level. Oh, you talking that shit, huh? Put on your PSVR2. You're gonna get this work. Oh man, but that's pretty interesting. And then another thing I like, and we already knew from the previous announcement, is the controllers. So now they created dedicated controllers, which I think is really important. I don't think the Move cut it. The Move controllers. I understand that was probably like a stopgap solution, and they probably had a whole crap load of controllers in the warehouse, so they had to do something with it, right? So they just used the damn thing, right? But I'm glad they're more serious and actually putting effort. It seems like this whole, with the news that we got, the controller, 4K, OLED, HDR, the technology, they're actually putting effort and thought into this. And I'm really appreciating that. One cable now, so one cable connecting directly to the PlayStation 5. I know some people are disappointed but I know some people are still disappointed because they want their wireless. But I think at that point, a wireless means the headset itself is processing the game. And that means like the Quest 2. Quest 2 processes its own, the games. But the thing is the Quest 2 as powerful as a PS5. And I think that's the reason why it still has to be tethered to the console, because it's utilizing the performance capabilities of the PlayStation 5. I'm interested in the Quest 2. I think I might pick that up.
But I probably will.
And it's only $300. That's not bad.
But
I would imagine it's not on the performance level of a PlayStation 5. It doesn't have the tech, the GPU and the CPU horsepower.
Correct.
I haven't looked at it, but I could make that assumption. So I think, the performance horsepower of the PS5 is key to PSVR2 to really get that great graphical effect.
that demo, and it was a demo of that Horizon, whatever it was, King of the Mountain, whatever they were calling that.
Call of the Mountain.
That looked amazing.
Yeah, yes, but like you said, is it really from the PSVR, or did they show it on one of their latest TVs? The Quantum Dot OLED or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
So we don't know.
I'm sure it was one of their latest TVs because they're not going to put their Sony product at CSS on an LG.
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing wrong with an LG. I mean, it's not a bad TV. I couldn't pull the trigger on it, but at the end of the day, just have to wait and see. I agree with you that overall, it's really, and shout out to Optimus Code, like he had said, they're really pushing the boundaries. They're taking that next step with it. Just have to see where it goes.
Okay, all right. Shout out to Sleepy Lights. He says, I'm out. Wish your delusional Xbox bro luck as well. Man, take care, Sleepy Lights. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you get to finish the rest of the podcast. All right. All right. So I think we covered the tech behind this, but I want to get into the next part with the PSVR2, and that's So we'll start. Let me show so that way there's a little bit of context to this. Is this right here? So we got Andy Robinson, and he stated VR feels like a huge distraction for PlayStation. The audience still isn't there at mass market numbers, and Xbox is a far stronger competitor this gen, right? And then Mr. Let me show him Mr. Babbitt, Joseph Moran, he replied, and he tried to help, because a lot of people started bashing Andy Robinson. And Mr. Babbitt tried to, I guess try to help him out with a little context. And he said, the point I feel Andy made here is, with Xbox being more competitive, why not throw dev budget in PS5 titles rather splitting it with PSVR2? It's not much of a distraction to Sony, Valve, and others sees the potential of the tech. I think it's a rad seeing PlayStation taking risk. So I could see he tried to play devil's advocate to put more context into Andy Robinson's tweet. I'm going to put Andy C. Robinson's tweet back on the screen. But I'm going to say this. Hold on. Let me.
What's up, Salty?
Hold on a second. So Andy Robinson is an editor at VGC News. A Platonic writer. Ukulele, Impossible Air, CVG, Game Mags, Long Suffering, whatever. So I guess he wrote, scripts for games, and he's an editor at VGC News, right? So he's an industry journalist, and he also dibble-dabbled in game writing, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I don't get, right? Shut up, Saltius. What's going on, brother? Happy holidays to you. This is what I don't understand with game journalism, right? If you're a game journalist and then also a game writer,
right?
He said that this feels like a huge distraction for PlayStation, right? And with Xbox going stronger as a stronger competitor this gen. Now here's the situation. Here's the problem I have with his statement. It's not like we're talking about the unknown. And what I mean by that is this. PlayStation already had VR.
Yeah.
Let me bring it up. And for everybody talking, I have it. It's right here. PlayStation already had VR. This right here came out in 2016. Right? Now, I can understand the average Joe gamer, right? People who don't do podcasts, people who don't really, study about the industry, learn about the industry, and they normally get the information from podcasts or whatever. So I can understand if somebody random made this comment. But if you're a game writer, right, do you make comments at the emotional level, or do you actually put your thoughts together and try to rationally express it, right? Because this is my problem with his statement, right? We physically know Sony already dabbled in PlayStation VR. Again, this came out in 2016. That's a fact, right? So now let's backtrack. Let's war game this out with facts. Yep. If PlayStation released this product in 2016, that means the years before that, they had to go through certain phases. First is the idea phase, right? Hey, let's get into VR. It's a conversation. Yeah. Then somebody says, should we, shouldn't we? And then, because we know we have VR, somebody said yes. When the boss or whoever has the power to say yes made that decision, they now allocated funding. Here's the money, make the prototype. So now they got money on prototype. They also get a budget to make games. This is how we got Astrobot. Astrobot is a product of VR, right?
Yep.
When they finalized the prototype and said, yep, this is PlayStation VR, put it into production. That's even more money. Now they got the device being manufactured. They're investing in money. They're investing in more games. They're getting third party. That's all money, right? This is all happening throughout 2012, 2013, 14, 15, the years before 2016. So I don't know when it began, but we know it's before 2016. Then finally 2016 shows up. They launch the PSVR. It's out in stores. They make more games. They invest in IPs. For example, Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
An exclusive VR experience. You know, they're getting more VR games, helping studios make more VR games, right? And then obviously they put in money into upcoming PSVR2. Despite all of that, despite the investments on the prototype, the actual final build of the VR, the investment and money putting into the games, Astrobot, Moss, Marvel's Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
Blood and Truth. That's a great game. Yeah, great game and stuff like that. Despite all that monetary investment, we still got Sony grabbing Spider-Man rights. Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted, a revamped God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, timed exclusives like Neo. They locked out Street Fighter V out of Xbox. The first time, you know, Xbox didn't get a Street Fighter game. You know what I'm saying? You saw how the PlayStation 5 launched. With Miles Morales Day 1, a remake of Demon Souls, a new IP, Returnal, right?
Yeah.
You see all these games that put PlayStation on the map, and at the same time, it put pressure on Xbox, forcing Phil's hand to be like, hey, we got to do something to respond, so we're going to buy studios, we're going to pay $7 billion for Bethesda, so that way they can say, hey, we got the studios now to compete with Sony, right? If Sony was able to already do this, despite having PlayStation VR, investing in PlayStation VR, making games for PlayStation VR, why is there concern over PSVR 2 when Sony already demonstrated to be able to handle both? In fact, even before this full announcement of PSVR 2, we're getting Wolverine, Spider-Man 2. They even took Knights of the Old Republic away from Xbox. Yeah. That was an Xbox game. It was a PC, but I played KOTOR on Xbox. That was one of the great things about OG Xbox. That's why I say OG Xbox is an amazing platform. KOTOR 1 and 2, Jade Empire, Morrowind. You know, a lot of this, even though, it was on PC, but as far as consoles, you can only play this on Xbox, right? Well, KOTOR is now on PlayStation, and they're funding this game. They're getting Japanese exclusives, Final Fantasy, Deathloop and stuff. Sony is still making big moves on this PS5. So how is this concern valid when we're seeing Sony already managing the balance of having PSVR and having PSVR 2 and still Wolverine, Spider-Man 2, you know, locking down exclusives. They purchase studios. They bought House Marquee and all that, Fire Sprite, and have all these other studios, right? Locking down time deals and still create big blockbuster titles like God of War, The Last of Us, you know, Ghost of Tsushima, you know, locking down huge IPs like Spider-Man. That they already managing everything from all directions. So how is VR like if VR was a huge distraction for PlayStation, we would have already noticed it. Because you can tell when something's not right with a brand. You know, you can tell. Like, something's wrong, man. Sony's not making the right moves. Where are the games? What are they talking about? Right? Sony arguably probably had one of the best first years in gaming on the PlayStation platform. Right? gave us multiple exclusives, Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, you know, built from the ground up for the PlayStation 5, Demon's Souls Remake, right? The announcement for Wolverine was huge. The announcement of KOTOR Remake, and it's not on Xbox, or it may show up on Xbox after a year or 2 years or whatever. Those are big moves. So where is this distraction warranted from? From where? Because PlayStation already shown they can handle, you know, multiple projects, provide multiple experience, and do multiple things, and be successful at all of it.
Well, I don't. It's not. So there's an audio feedback coming from my side. Okay, I'm trying to fix that. Okay, let me mute and then come back to me, P Rock.
All right.
So
let me.
It says it's on and I'm not talking. I'm still getting feedback. So okay.
So you're gonna fix it a bit.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it fixed.
Right, so let me talk to the audience. Okay. So Craig will chime in, but what I'm trying to convey to you guys is, you know, for a guy who's a video game writer, and he didn't take a step back and seen what was already done. PlayStation having PSVR, it released in 2016, so that means obviously, as I said before, they already put in investments and budget and ideas to get it going. Yet it still didn't stop Sony from doing probably some of the biggest moves in gaming. Like Spider-Man exclusivity is huge, right? They still knocked it out and still creating amazing experiences, amazing games. You know, revamping God of War, you know, new IP Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima. Sony made some huge moves, right? Getting Final Fantasy exclusive, right? All of this while still, you know, creating PSVR. And then on top of that, they started creating the PlayStation 5 in 2014. So that was also happening throughout. And then the PlayStation 4 Pro. So all of that was happening all at the same time. You know, I think the real problem is everybody's looking at Microsoft as the front leader, and if they have problems doing it, then everybody else has problems doing it. You know, if Xbox can't walk and chew gum at the same time, then neither can Sony. Which that doesn't. That's what I'm guessing. You know, because I don't know where Andy Robinson got this opinion, because before the PSVR announcement, nobody was talking about that PlayStation looks distracted or that Sony doesn't have a game plan. I think Sony's game plan has been very well spoken, and we've seen the titles and games that's coming and stuff like that, and they're huge. They have a lot of big titles coming. They talked about they have 25 games, first-party games in development. You've seen the strategic acquisitions of developers that fits in the culture of PlayStation. You know, we've seen the games that's been announced, and some of them are huge. Nobody expected Wolverine. Nobody expected KOTOR. Some huge products coming through, right? And then there's a lot of rumors, and we'll talk about that stuff. But PlayStation already showed the aptitude to balance and juggle and prioritize and budget stuff without impeding other products. So I don't see the investment in PS5 as holding back PlayStation 5 or everything that PlayStation 5 does, you know. I don't think, if PlayStation would have, if Sony would have not got into PSVR, then I don't think that money in VR would have translated into, all right, just give it to PlayStation 5. I think it would have just not went to PlayStation at all, or be done for something else. I think the budget for PlayStation 5 is already allocated, and all these other projects, if you were to get rid of them, doesn't mean, well, since we're getting rid of these projects, just throw it onto PlayStation 5 games. I don't think that would have happened. It just, the money would have went somewhere else, or the money wouldn't have been allocated at all. It just wouldn't have been allocated at all. You know, I don't think, for example, you know, if Sony didn't get into PSVR, it would have resulted in the purchase of another studio. I don't think that's how it works. You know, the decision to purchase another studio or to create one more game isn't relying on whether or not we're going to focus on PSVR. I think Sony's a lot better at managing their studios to where one thing doesn't impact or inhibit another project. You know, and I think people.
All right, is that any better? Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. Okay. I'm just trying to see if that's any better.
I think you're sounding fine right now.
Okay. Well, I'm in my voice video thing on Discord trying to get to a good spot. But yeah, I second what you're saying. I just think it sounds like sour grapes. I mean, I'm just the shortcut here. It does sound like it. That's the way I interpreted it. Everybody has a right to their opinion, but it does sound like some sour grapes. I don't know how it's a distraction when they're adding more games. It's a game console. They're simply. I mean, even with the Kinect, go back to Xbox with the Kinect. You could actually play Mass Effect and give verbal orders to your squad. Now, not everybody was going to do that, but it was just a different way for you to play the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. It's like, if you have Kinect, you can play this like that, give a verbal order.
No.
So, but to me, the guy came across as sour grapes, but that's my opinion on it. I don't get too high or too low when somebody says you have the right not to like something, but Sony has a track record with the VR.
Yeah.
So, like you were saying.
So with Mr. Babbitt's comment, the point I feel Andy made here is with Xbox being more competitive. So let's talk about that. Is Xbox more competitive to the point where, let's say us as gamers, we're concerned with Sony being involved in PSVR2? Has Microsoft shown anything where I'm thinking, damn, Sony, you shouldn't have gotten into PSVR2 because Microsoft's coming in with the fire? Do you feel that way? Do you feel like Microsoft is like running on all cylinders to the point where if Sony like it's a bad move for Sony to get into PSVR? They should be just 100% focused on PS5 because Xbox is hot on that ass. Do you feel that's the environment we're in?
Feel? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, they're out here getting slammed. Everywhere you turn around, they get slammed. Name me one first party Xbox game that has hardware based ray tracing.
Yeah, good point.
None. They don't have any, which proves they weren't ready for this generation at all. I'm looking at 30 FPS games over there. I'm looking at no hardware based ray tracing. I'm talking about on first party games. Okay, I know they got it on third-party games. They're getting outperformed by the PlayStation on multiple games. Not just one, not two, not three, but a whole bunch. But I understand what the media is doing. You're a sports guy. Mm-hmm. So the media's job leading up to a game is to try to figure out a way for everybody to be, this team has a chance against this team. How many people said that the University of Cincinnati had a great chance to beat Alabama? And then they played.
And they got slaughtered.
They got slaughtered.
And the reality set in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the same thing.
Yeah.
Sony is a hardware company. They're going to always make better hardware. And that's what I'm seeing with the PlayStation. Now, does this mean that the Xbox won't be successful? That's a totally different conversation. This doesn't mean that the Xbox is trash. Doesn't mean that it won't compete. Doesn't mean that they're not trying. But I mean, I'm seeing all kind of things with Square Enix right now. That there are some games that are not allegedly going to go to Microsoft. I know it's a rumor. I'm trying to dig into it, but no, I don't see that. And Sony again doing the VR thing is just another smack in their faces of like we don't take you seriously. And there's enough pie out here for Microsoft to eat off of. Just the way I took his stuff was sour grapes. I don't see any competition at all. I mean, this their VR headset based on the specs is better than the Oculus one. Based on the specs, got to see it in action. Yeah. So, I think it's just clickbaiting articles and stuff like that, which I'm fine with. That's what it is. I'm okay with it. Michigan was supposed to be Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, shout out to JFK TV says, "Shot caller P Rock, a modern day prophet top dollar thoughts get dropped from all faucets. Water god Poseidon got me sliding on thin ice. Yup, I'm high. My man's chilling, living the high life. My man got that good TLOU, and he's just chilling. What's up, JFK? I gotta get you on the podcast, man. Well, we gotta chop it up. We gotta hit up on a DM and work something out and see get our schedules together.
Does that mean slide into the DM?
No. Pause. Hey, we're not starting 2022 like that, Craig. We're not starting 2022 like that. But you did a great segue. I agree. I don't see Xbox providing better competition. I honestly don't. Or being more competitive. What I do see him being is just being a better Xbox. And I think people really need to. I ain't gonna say really need to, because I'm not gonna force another person to look at things. But for me, it makes more sense to say that Microsoft, Phil Spencer, Xbox is doing a better job at being a better Xbox compared to what they did with Xbox One. But as far as being a better competitor to PlayStation, I don't see it. I honestly don't see it. I don't see it personally, and I don't see it tangibly from the metrics. More people are still buying their games on PlayStation. PlayStation is still selling Xbox Series platforms all around the world. PlayStation 5 is gobbling up the majority of third-party games, so that tells you more people are buying these games on PlayStation 5 than Xbox Series platform, right? The one area I see Xbox is doing good in its own metric is Game Pass. But Game Pass is not being challenged by PlayStation in any form. Like, Sony's not into the subscription wars. So, you know what I'm saying? So, really, Game Pass is an entity all to itself. That's really it. It's not like you're going after for options. Like, I'm not going to get Game Pass. I'm going to go for PS Now. No one really does that. Because PS Now is not being advertised as the main focal point. So, there's really no true competitor to Game Pass. It's just, a subscription service, right? So, I don't see Microsoft or Xbox being a more competitor. I just don't see it. I don't even see it within the games. They can't even. They still. Xbox, in my opinion, still has issues releasing the games. Take Halo, for example, right? The campaign's good, right? But there's a lot of things missing, right? Co-op is missing. Like if you listen to a lot of the hardcore, the Halo fans that play the multiplayer, they have a huge list of grievances behind the game. There's a lot of things, right? You look at the initiative. They can't even release their own game without the help of a major third party. Now, sure, there's studios that always use support studios designed for that, right? Freelance work or, contractor support. But I don't think you go with another major third-party studio that's probably actually better than you, right? To help you out with your own game. Because in all if you look at the initiative versus Crystal Dynamics, I would say Crystal Dynamics is the better studio because they actually have the experience and they have the people and they've been working together for a while. So when you have these two entities working on a game, technically speaking, Crystal Dynamics is the better studio. Are they in charge? Or I don't know. It's just weird, right? So in my opinion, Xbox is trying to be a better Xbox as compared to what they provided last gen from 2013 to 2020. But as far as a big competitor against PlayStation, where PlayStation has to sit back and be like, ooh, I don't know. I don't think we get into VR2 because, man, that Xbox is really coming in like Mike Tyson. I don't see that. I don't see anything from Xbox that PlayStation should be concerned about at this point. I don't see anything about that. From my view. I agree. Right? I don't see anything. Right? And then more importantly, one more thing. One more thing. So more importantly, we already see Sony's, we already see some of the things Sony has done already, which has been some great products. And we're seeing the stuff that they're coming out, for the PlayStation 5. So it's not like, the games are being impacted either. Like, we're going to see some great bangers, some Game of the Year level titles releasing on the PlayStation 5. We're going to see some heat on this platform, right? Right? So PlayStation still releasing the heat on that one. I don't see how I don't see how even Xbox is even in the conversation, because Phil said himself he's not getting involved in VR. So how Xbox even got into the conversation in this when they're not even dipping their toes in VR, right? I honestly don't know. I don't see it.
Well, if he's a journalist, and the journalist people, you want to call them that, they want everything to be equal, or at least be able to say they're in striking distance, because the two journalists I talked to off the record pretty much said that it was boring last generation, and a lot of people had to go out and find different things to do because Sony had such a big lead. And shout out to Robin Gaming. He made a legitimate point. Sony doesn't share a whole lot of information because they don't have to. Look what they did at CES. Boom, they come out, drop new hardware, show you a brand new car, show you some speakers, show you the new cameras they're going to be doing, filming with on, major studios for films. And they are dominating the conversation at this point. Now, I think the way Microsoft approached the generation, which is to get influencers on their side, that has had an impact. That's why I think with Horizon Forbidden West, didn't Sony have to? Sony went to Game Informer and gave them some information, showed them some video, and they had a 1-hour podcast, something like that. So that they're doing that. Sony really doesn't have to do that, but I think they're doing that to say, okay, we understand what Microsoft is doing. We're playing ball too from a certain point of view. Yeah. But I've always said I agree. Xbox needs to be a better Xbox, and their fanboys need to quit talking about it. At this point, you sound like a bunch of DC fanboys right before Justice League opened years ago, saying how it was going to beat the Avengers and it was more mature. Then the movie came out and it bombed. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, didn't do as good as Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. It's unfortunate that their fans were like that. I think the Xbox is doing fine for what they want to bring. But like I said before, give me a first party game with ray tracing on it.
Yeah.
Okay, just do that first before you talk about competing with Sony, because I know there's Sony games that are first party. You mentioned Spider-Man earlier. That's got hardware-based ray tracing on it. That's got machine learning on there.
Machine learning.
I haven't seen that on Xbox yet. So, and again, just give me that first. Give me that first before you start, saying, well, the initiative is going to be this quadruple A studio that's going to compete with Naughty Dog. Well, okay. Can you at least give us a game first? Do that. So it is what it is. It's silly to me. It's funny and it's disappointing at the same time.
Yeah. So, mostly it's disappointing. Then the next part again, Bad Bit said, why not throw dev budget in PS5 titles rather than splitting it with PSVR? And I think he's looking at it the wrong way. PS5 has the dev budget. The dev budget that they need to make these PS5 games, they have it. I don't think the money that's going towards PSVR2 is taking away from the PS5 budget. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you have the money to make a game, then how much more money do you need when you already have the money that you need? Does that make sense? And I think if devs needed more money, they'll get it. I don't think PSVR 2 is holding back dev budget for PS5. I think Sony's better at that. Again, this is the whole, walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. I think people are looking at PlayStation in a similar fashion they look at Xbox, where Xbox has trouble juggling multiple projects and being successful at it. And they're applying that same logic with PlayStation 5, when, again, PlayStation has already shown a propensity to manage multiple budgets and be successful. Again, we already have PlayStation VR. It didn't stop us from getting Spider-Man, Miles Morales, remakes, new IPs, and stuff like that. And some of the most amazing games, of last gen and stuff. And we had a great, outstanding first year with PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5's first year has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Great representation of what a next-gen console should be. Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, Digital Foundry crowned it as, best graphics of 2021. While we're still trying to figure out what a CU is.
Yeah, that's my fault.
So it's pretty cool. So let me move on to the next topic.
Well, let me just add something real quick to what that gentleman said. Jim Ryan did say that they were going to bring AAA content to PSVR. So let me make this clear. I'm willing to wait and see what they do.
I hope. It's a good start.
That's it. I'm willing to wait.
With the specs and the beefed up, presentation of VR2, it could be. You could get AAA quality gaming. And I'm pretty impressed with what the specs was doing. But like you said, let's wait into action. This image has nothing to do with the podcast, but I'm sorry, I'm always going to show this image. I'm always going to remind you Rockstar did this. I'm just putting it out there. It's fucking hilarious. I just can't help it. I would never forget this. You see the image, Craig? I just can't. This is always going to be. I'm never letting this image go.
Yeah, that's based on Jenna Jameson's character. That's Candy Sucks. Yeah, she's voiced by Gemma Jameson.
Yeah. So I'm never letting this go. I'm just reminding y'all. That's Rockstar. All right. So next time I want to talk about rumors of The Last of Us remake. Potentially, The Last of Us remake and Factions 2 multiplayer might come out by the end of this year, 2022. So let me ask you this: how do you feel that Sony could be potentially working on The Last of Us Part 1 remake for the PS5? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think it's weird? Do you think what's your opinion on it, if you have one?
Yeah, very quickly, I think it's dumb, but I understand they also have a TV show coming out, so it does make sense if that would be true.
Do you think it's the TV show? I don't think it's because of the TV show.
I think it's good co-promotion. That's it. I think it's good co-promotion to be able to say, oh, we have this video game that we're remaking, and come over and check out the live action on, where is it going to be, on Showtime or HBO Max? I'm going to be following that show. So, but I'm waiting to get some more information. It's finished. They finished it about a month ago. So it's in what would be in the final productive, putting the sound in and the music. So we should be hearing about that soon. I think it's stupid, but because to me they remastered it and it is like 60 frames per second on the Pro. So we already got 60 last gen. What are you adding to it? And but I understand the co-promotion. I understand that at this point with Sony because they got the Uncharted movie coming out. They're co-promoting that with the release of it on PC. So it makes sense. But yeah, I wouldn't have wasted resources. And as far as Factions is concerned, I don't give a rat's ass about multiplayer. So you can have at it on that.
So shout out to Gemini J. He says you should get the Woozer vest. I don't know if he spelled it correctly. It has haptics you wear. So I guess there's a vest with haptics, probably good for VR. If Sony endorses that, or if they come out with their own, I would definitely wear a vest and get the full experience because it's all about the immersion. So I think that would be incredible. Thank you for the super chat. Welcome aboard, Gemini J. You mentioned Greg. You mentioned part of, I think, in my opinion, is the real reason for the remake, and it's the PC version. I think that's the only logical reason.
Yeah, that's what I've been told as well.
They built a PC version, right? Mm-hmm. And if they built a PC version, it is clearly more up to date than what was done for the PlayStation 4, which was the remaster. Because remember, the PlayStation 4 was a remaster of the PlayStation 3 version because they couldn't get the PlayStation 3 run backwards compatible, so they made so they remastered it, right? Added 60 frames. But with the PC version, it's built from the ground up. So I would imagine that's what they did. It's really this remake of The Last of Us is really because they made it for PC and it's might as well make it for the PS5. Might as well make a version specifically for PS5 and PC. And I think that's what it's really about. Yeah. I think it's really about that.
I agree.
It's really about getting the game. Yeah. And as far as the multiplayer, I would not be surprised. And I'm saying it out. I would not be surprised if Factions is a free-to-play title at a minimum between PC and PS5. Minimum. Maybe the PS4. I'm thinking it's also going to be on the PS4 because of the free-to-play nature. And you had a lot of people that played The Last of Us on PlayStation 4 and still don't have a PlayStation 5. But I have a feeling Factions is a standalone free-to-play game, and it's going to be available on PS4, PS5, and PC. That's my opinion, and I think that's with the thought of money transactions and skins. And who knows? Sony might dip into NFTs. That's a whole different podcast in of itself, conversation. But that's what I see. I see this as The Last of Us remake. The intent is because they're making the PC version, so you might as well make a PS5 PC, built from the ground up title. And then with the hype behind that, Factions 2 free-to-play multiplayer across PS4, PS5, and PC. I think business-wise, you can't go wrong. I don't see anything wrong with business aspects of that. It could potentially bring in huge revenue for Naughty Dog with free-to-play Factions. It's unique. Factions is a very unique multiplayer, which I think will probably be appreciated on PC because it's different. Especially PC's a hard crowd to please when it comes to multiplayer, right? I'm thinking that's what's happening, in my opinion. I think all of that, to me, is just what makes sense. A remake is because of the PC, and a standalone Factions, I don't think it's going to be a standalone game you buy. I think it's going to be a free-to-play multiplayer, and especially that game with skins, and who knows, that's what it was all about. I see that. What do you think about? Craig? Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. No. They were saying the feedback was back, so I was muted.
Sometimes I do hear myself. Are you listening to us? Like, is it coming out of speakers or something?
Yeah, I'm coming out of speakers.
Because that's probably it. Because sometimes if the podcast is, if you don't have a headset on, your microphone may not always be able to block the sound coming from the speakers, if that makes sense. Because it might be thinking it's a person talking.
Yeah, which is fine. Well, I was about to hop off anyway. Okay. My food just got here.
All right.
No, I agree. So then I'll work on my sound definitely because I reset everything on my PC. I agree. I think it's going to coincide with a PC release and or at least a PC release date. Yeah. And so by the end of the year. But I am picking up feedback here. I do see it now. Okay. But hey, I want to give a big shout out. I'm gonna hop off. My food got here.
Okay,
but, appreciate you having me on, Puerto Rock. And I'll shout out to the chat. Thanks for letting me know about the feedback. And go ahead and continue. And I'll listen and stuff my face. But peace out to everybody. Have a good Friday. Stay safe this weekend.
Right. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy your food. So appreciate Craig coming by. Again, hopefully I could get the rest of the crew. And still, if you haven't, prayers to Code. I'll repost his GoFundMe if you haven't supported or if you care to support. But for the most part, just keep him in your thoughts and wish him the best. Really miss that dude. Really, really smart dude, man. If you didn't get the jokes, if you listen to his channel where he talked about the gaming industry, man, he provided some amazing insight and broke it down. Great dude, and he's just a good dude all around. But anyway, present thoughts still with Optimus Code, man. Man, damn, that really put me down. But with The Last of Us remake, if there is a remake, it's because of the PC. It's the only reason to make the remake. Because they're building one brand new for PC, then you might as well put it on PS5, and that's really it. And then on top of that, Factions 2, multiplayer, free to play. I think that's been the plan all along. One last topic I want to talk about. I know it's not added to the title, but Days Gone. Apparently now we got the full information that it wasn't Sony publisher that shut down Days Gone 2. So it wasn't Sony as a publisher telling Sony Band, nope, we don't want Days Gone 2. It was actually the heads of the studio themselves. So I guess there was internal discussions, and ultimately the studio themselves said, no, we're not doing a Days Gone 2. And they pitched a new IP for Sony, and Sony greenlit the new IP. So it was Sony Band themselves, and for the last couple of months, for almost a year, or maybe at least half a year, we've been blaming Sony. That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny how it was actually the studio themselves. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have issues. I don't have issues with it in general. Especially if it was Sony Band themselves. If it was Sony Band themselves and they decided ultimately, no, we're not gonna do a sequel, let's do a new IP, I think that's fine. Sure, I know there's some, some of you love Days Gone 2 and will love a sequel, right? And then there's some of us who are indifferent. I'm kind of indifferent. I wouldn't be against a sequel, but at the same time, I'm not heartbroken that there isn't a sequel, if you know what I mean, right? I could have went either way. But I think the main important part is they are still making big AAA games. They got greenlit for a new IP, and I think that's great. I think studios should have the chance if I mean, there's special circumstance, right? And what I mean by special circumstances, there are circumstances where a studio is pigeonholed into one type of game. Like Polyphony Digital, that's the racing studio. They make racing games. They make Gran Turismo, so that's their purpose, right? San Diego Studios, they make baseball. Their bread and butter is MLB The Show, and they have to make it every year. So San Diego Studios don't really have the time to make a completely different AAA IP, because this IP has to be made every year and released every year. So they don't have that cycle. So I can understand certain situations. But a studio like Sony Band, Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Lions, Tigers, and Bears, they're not pigeonholed to just one game. So giving them the opportunity to create a new IP, I think that's a great thing. They can always come back to Days Gone. It's not like it's permanently shelved. They just didn't greenlight a sequel, and they went with a new IP. So then that's fine. We're going to get a new IP for the PlayStation 5. Obviously, it's not officially announced. We just know that it's happening. We don't know what it is. We don't know what engine they're using. Are they going to use Unreal Engine again? Because Days Gone was on Unreal Engine 4. And Unreal Engine 5 looks great. Or are they going to use one of Sony's engines that we're familiar with? Like, supposedly people said that there's already been conversation that they already decided to use the Decima engine, which I think is phenomenal. Decima engine is a beast. It's a fantastic engine. So, already had a lot of improvements done to the engine, even through Kojima. So I think that's probably the best bet. But I wouldn't mind if they were using Unreal Engine 5, because that Matrix demo, that was pretty good, right? That I gotta admit, I wasn't really impressed with that Matrix demo. I'm not impressed with the movie. Oh my god, that movie's garbage. Matrix Resurrection, Jesus Christ, bro. What the fuck? And then they had the nerve to put that in theaters. I feel sorry for anyone who went to a movie theater to see that movie. Oh my god. Y'all seen Matrix Resurrection? Oh my god, that movie was abysmal. Oh my god. It was bad. Yo, that movie was bad. Yo. I'm flabbergasted. Just right now I'm all discombobulated.
I am completely befuddled. That movie was so bad. Like, yo, I don't like. It felt like I was watching them trying to talk about the Matrix movie. You know what I mean? It didn't even feel like a movie. It was like watching people talk about the Matrix. Like, wow, son. Yo, I had no idea it was gonna be this bad. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know what was the point of just so ultimately you can have Trinity fly. Like, yo, it was bad. Yo, you did. Blackbeard said nope, and I think I did a good move by not seeing it right. Yo, don't see it at all. Like, oh my god, just go back and see the first one. Don't even bother with this. It's crazy. Yo, I think I dozed off on some scenes too. Yo, it was bad. I'm telling you. I'm not even trying to clout chase or be like internet shock value. It was terrible. Woo! I can't even tell you it was a cash grab. It's just a straight bad movie. Bro. Anyway. The demo was good though. But woo. I don't know what to tell y'all, bro. That ain't it. But yeah, so for those of you with Days Gone, I would just say this. Yes, the studio themselves said no to the sequel, but they are working on a new IP. So we're gonna get a fresh shot at a fresh IP for the PlayStation 5. So I think that's great, even for Days Gone 2's fans, because, you know, can we really argue and be mad at the thought of a brand new AAA IP, and it's apparently even a bigger budget than, you know, what Days Gone 2 would have been. So overall, we're going to get a new game, and then after their new game, who knows? You know, Days Gone 2 might make a revival. Maybe it's more about timing. Maybe they just don't want to go back to back, you know, be pigeonholed with just one IP. Maybe they want to spread load their creativity, which is a good thing. So, you know, so I don't see much of an issue about that, right? But anyway, thank you so much for rocking out. I'm going to cut this podcast to this. I'm going to end it off right here so I could get back into some gaming. Looking forward to more content. There's a lot of great stuff coming up. Great games. February is a beast for games. What are you guys about to pick up? Because I'm definitely going to rock out on Sifu. I'm going to rock out on Elden Ring. I'm going to rock out on, obviously, on Horizon Forbidden West. The following month, what's the RPG called? Oh, man. What's it called? Starts with a B. Babylon's Fall. That looks interesting. Just a Guy, thank you for the super chat. He says, first Cyberpunk, now this Keanu must have that Xbox stench on him. Rest in peace, Trashbox Series L. No exclusives, no next gen games. Pathetic console confirmed. Just a Guy is going in the chat. He said Keanu has that Xbox stench on him. Oh my god. I know some of you guys are excited for GT7 in March. You guys know I'm not into racing games. But Sifu, Horizon Zero Dawn, Elden Ring, Babylon's Fall is so far what I could think of. Rock, what's your gamer tag? Porter Rock 77. Same name. Simple. Keep it the same all across. Everything. Viewmaster 617. Now I see why Neo hand was pushed out on the poster to warn us not to see this trash. I don't know, man. They need to, man. Warner Brothers, you know, thank God for the Batman. When it comes to Warner Brothers, at the very least, they get the Batman mostly right. I'm looking forward to that. The Batman. Oh man, I can't wait. I'm gonna see that on IMAX. I don't even give a damn what variant of COVID is out there. Omnicron, Omnipoton, Polypiton, Unicron. I don't give a damn. This is the goddamn Batman, and that the trailers are looking fire. Oh my god, the Batman trailers are looking fire. fire, and I just cannot wait. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for rocking out. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. You're going to see some more content, great conversations on the next podcast. On your way out, hit the like button. I'll truly appreciate it. And you guys take care, man. I'm glad to see everybody had a great holiday season. And we're going to do our thing, all right? But anyway, welcome back. It's your boy, your only friend in these YouTube streets, Puerto Rock 77. And I hope you enjoyed today's live. We're back, 2022. Let's make it a movie. I'm out of here. You guys take care. Peace.